this week's pastor capture. I'm Pastor Steve.
I'm Pastor Tammy.
And as you can tell, we are absent again from Pastor Ivy. We continue to pray for Pastor Ivy and her family as her husband David continues to be in a state of testing and watching to see how his body responds and recovers from the stroke that he experienced a week ago Saturday. So we continue to pray for Pastor Ivy. This past week, we continued in our Advent series, How Does a Weary World Rejoice? And we had James Chirian, who filled in for Pastor Ivy. He preached at the traditional services.
Yes, he did.
And it was just, I really encourage you to go back and watch his sermon. He did a fantastic job. He really did a wonderful job leaning into this weariness. And I loved what he brought out. You know, this is the passage where Mary comes to see Elizabeth. And the baby in Elizabeth's womb leaps, John the Baptist leaps with a sense of joy. But James presents that and references back to Genesis and the creation story and the Spirit brooding over creation. And there's this sense of this darkness and the weariness, but just beyond that is the dawn and the assurance of this loving hen, if you will. Jesus refers to that.
Yes.
That is right there, holding us in this time. And then this image of Mary coming with Jesus in her womb, just conceived, but there's this promise, there's this hope kind of thing.
One of the things I really appreciated about James's sermon, I actually watched it on Monday afternoon. And watching it through the lens of what our friends Beth and John Wilterdink are going through was comforting for me. So we definitely are thinking of the weariness of folks who, this is not their favorite season of year. This is not the time where they are in joy, but they just kind of want to sail through, maybe under the radar. So it's interesting. One of the things I've enjoyed about this series is that we're exploring Luke from this different lens of how even in our weariness, that's when we can lean in and lean on our Creator God.
I think about that, and I think too about the sense of hope and promise that comes through the community of faith. So as Pastor Tammy mentioned, Beth Wilterdink, she's a senior pastor over at Mayfield, not far from here, one of our sister churches. And she's also a very close friend. She also spent a number of her growing up years here at Mentor, where both of her parents were co-pastors. I think that was from 95 to 02, something in there.
Don't ask me the numbers.
It might have been 98 to 05. Anyway, 7 years. And so they just lost their 2-year-old daughter, Cora. A very tragic loss that occurred on Sunday. And so that loss has really hit all of us in this community. So many people were blessed by Cora. And we gathered for a prayer vigil on Monday night. I think they actually have that on the Mayfield UMC site, I'm guessing, because I think they did live stream it. But so many people gathered and expressed how just simply being present with one another was a tremendous way to experience a sense of hope and promise in the midst of such grief.
Speaking of like the weariness and the joy in your sermon, when you shared about your sister, and I loved that your dad's reaction. I mean, it could have been so different if he was not a believer, and just for when he was like, "This is good news," and then to find out she had twins. Whoa!
Yeah.
Doubly blessed.
I shared the link to that with my nieces. I called them up.
Oh, very fun, very fun.
And I failed to mention in the sermon that they are both now in their 30s, and they have their own children and their own families, and it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing. My dad is supposed to come. He may change his mind, but he's supposed to come up from Virginia for Christmas Eve services, so if you come out for those. The other thing I just wanted to lift up with James' message, which I thought was so just thoughtful of him, is I love that he said, this is a season where it's all about babies, the baby Jesus, the baby, and just saying, and most of the time, the preachers that are bringing that message are men who, what do we know about babies and pregnancies, so, and, it was good that he named that.
I loved that he named that.
Yeah. So, mindful of those, for whom so many people, I don't have the statistics, but so many people have experienced stillborn deaths and miscarriages and things of that nature. So I just want to be sensitive to that as well. How'd it go with Sunday school?
Sunday school was great. We're following the same sermon series, so the students are learning the same stories, and it's cute that they have, with resources, there's little stick puppets, and so they've been acting it out and having a good time, and so yeah, it's awesome. So if you have not been to Sunday school, we'd love for you guys to come, jump in. It's always a good time.
Yeah. I'm excited about this coming Sunday. We continue in the series.
Yeah, Zechariah gets to talk.
Zechariah gets to talk finally. Good stuff. Also, we're going to be commissioning our newly hired youth director, Bryant Hines. So that'll be a great thing. And we will be having a guest preacher for the modern service, again filling in for Pastor Ivy. I've invited our district superintendent of the Western Reserve District, Edgar Brady. This will be his last chance to be here as the district superintendent of Western Reserve.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten back, so if he's not available, then my wife, the Reverend Carrie Stoltz Costello, says she could preach. So one of our DSs will be here to preach at the modern services this Sunday.
Awesome.
Anything else for this coming Sunday?
Not that I can think of. But Friday is the Prelude to Christmas
Thank you.
here in the sanctuary with our men's choir.
Beautiful.
And it's an opportunity for if you're going to be out of town and you want to come and have like a Christmas Eve service, then you are most welcome. I think it's at 7:30. Oh, yes.
7:30 on Friday.
7:30 Friday
Very
is
good.
the Prelude to Christmas.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I want to invite you to come and be with us in person. We also celebrate you watching online, but especially in this season, again with this series of How Does a Weary World Rejoice, it makes a difference to simply be in the presence of others. So I hope that you might be able to do that, and we want to provide a space for you wherever you are on your journey of faith, wherever you are in this Advent season. We also ask that you might share this video with others. It can be a way for them to learn about the church. Like us, subscribe. Again, our services are at 9 and 11. We have both modern and traditional at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock for Sunday morning.
And modern live stream at 9, traditional live stream at 11, and Sunday school happens at 9 and 11 here in person as well. So
Thanks for watching this week's
Pastor Capture.